Hey, it's Dave and Wanda from WGRC's Dave and Wanda in the Morning, and another episode of Around the Valley. And Wanda, we're doing something a little different today.
It is out of the box.
We are at Acacia. This we're going to verify that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Acacia Tattoo Company
yes.
here in Lewisburg. Now, as you can see, Wanda and I, we both have tattoos as well.
We do.
As many of you do. And Wanda, for the most part, people get tattoos because there's a special meaning.
Yeah. For me, it's a reminder of what God has done in my life, and that's why I've chosen the specific tattoos that I have. It's been an encouragement to me every time I look at them to remember who I am. I'm a child of God.
And for me, this one here has my three kids and the verse from Psalm 127:3, where children are a gift. This one, forever and always, is the phrase my wife and I share, and that's actually her signature. And then these two are military related, with who I served with, and shipmates that I lost. That's the Iowa 47. I lost 47 shipmates. So these have special meaning to me.
Did you get them here and here so you could go like
That's right.
that?
Or when I'm going to hug somebody, it's like this.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I know we're going to meet up with a guy named Justin.
Yes.
He is the owner. So let's head on in and see what's happening.
Let's go meet Justin.
Get this for you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
WGRC's Around the Valley is sponsored by Zook Septic Services, serving central Pennsylvania. Contact them for inspections, repairs, and system maintenance needs at 570-837-1466 or at zookseptic.com.
Well, we have made our way into the studio here at Acacia Tattoo Company in Lewisburg, and we are sitting here with the founder and owner, Justin. Justin, thanks for letting us come in here.
Well, thanks for coming.
Now, I know we're going to see some of your work here in a bit, but tell us a little bit about the artistry of tattooing. How did you get into it? What do you enjoy about it? How do you learn?
Yeah. For me, I got into it pretty early. I was 15 when I got my first couple tattoos done. 35 now, so a little while ago. And the first ones I got, they had meaning at the time, but then you just start to get into it for the art form of it. And I got into it because I liked how they looked. The bands I listened to were covered in tattoos. It was, So kind of like pushed me into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there I realized, growing up artistic, that it was something that I could potentially do myself. So I started to go down that avenue of how does one learn to tattoo? How do you make it whether a hobby or a profession? And so I found an apprenticeship, and that's how you start tattooing, is through kind of a classic old school apprenticeship style. You find a mentor and they teach you, and that's the best way to do it. It's hands-on. You're being taught every aspect of it, from customer service to the actual tattooing to behind the scenes with supplies and ordering and all that. So you learn the whole aspect of the industry, which is cool. For me, I grew up artistic, but I also grew up with a graphic design background. And when I started getting into tattooing, it was like a really good way to transition graphic design, Photoshop, and things into the tattoo industry. When I was originally getting into it, the early 2000s, there wasn't a lot of people using digital design for tattooing. There's a lot of old school style. You come in, you pick up a picture off the wall, you put it in one spot, and that was it. There wasn't a lot of other artistic routes on how to do it. So when I got into it, I started doing that. And that kind of allowed me to find a shop that I got into, a tattoo place that needed some graphic design. They needed business cards and things like that done. So then I got on board. And when you start out, you don't really make a lot of money, because you're not doing the best tattoos. You're trying to find people to let you tattoo them. So typically you're doing it for free. So an avenue is to make money, right? Because you have to, is designing. So graphic design allows you to make money off of that, but then also you can start out body piercing. It's an easy way for people. We don't do any piercings here, but it's kind of into the industry, piercing and tattoos. A lot of places offer both, and so that allows you to jumpstart into it that way. And then you could focus on tattooing and not have to worry, well, how else I need to go get a part-time job. I need to, I can't dedicate 100% of my time. So I found a place that would take me on to do a full-time apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Learn under that person. And it got us to where we're at now. For me, it was just like a passion behind tattooing is a really cool experience to be able to put something on somebody's body that is going to last for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's something that I say to people. It's like when you're passionate about what you do, people see that. And that's where,
doesn't matter what it is. Yeah.
Anything. If you're passionate about it, that's going to draw people towards you rather than somebody else. So, when you're in that industry, no matter what it is, right? If you're, you work at a hospital or you work as a mechanic, because you're passionate about it, people are drawn towards that. So with our industry, it's very, even to this day, each day I come into work, I love coming into work. I love my job. I get to have conversations with people and create really cool artwork all day long.
So like I said, I grew up in Schuylkill County.
Yeah.
And actually my one buddy, Nicky Merva, he came to Justin first. I mean, he came to Justin, I think, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with his tattoo. I mean, he did a whole arm sleeve on Nicky, on my friend, and it just looks awesome. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and get in with him because, getting in with a good artist as good as Justin, it's not easy.
Yeah.
So, and then I got in with him, and I'm never going to go to a different artist.
So it's for me, it's a way to, when I'm dead and gone, there's still going to be thousands of tattoos that I did out there. So it's
really
like a
cool
legacy to have.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool. That my kids down the road will run into people that, I've tattooed 20, 30 years ago, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a cool concept there.
Tell me about the first person you ever put a tattoo on, and when they realized that they were the first person.
So it was during my apprenticeship. It technically depends on when. I was kind of explaining to Wanda. It depends on when you say the first tattoo, because before I actually got an apprenticeship, I did the wrong ways of tattooing, which was at home, doing that. So there's the right way and the wrong way. I started out doing it the wrong way because I didn't know any better.
Right.
So I have some friends that have some stuff on that, it's okay to not see or talk about. But my first in a tattoo actual shop or a tattoo parlor was one of my friends. He was getting a piece done on his leg, and the guy that was teaching me taught me, the basics. He could see that I was very interested in, what was going on and how it was being done. And the guy's like, hey, you want to try some? And I was like, yeah, I do. And he let me try just like a little spot. It was a picture on his leg. I think it was Jerry Lee Lewis is what he was getting. It was like a part of a piano. So I just got the color a black circle, and I was just like, yes, I did that black circle.
Yes.
So it was on a friend. All my original, just starting out was on friends. A lot of them were very brave because it's like, hey, I really want a tattoo. Please let me do a tattoo on you. I've only done 4 of them, but I want to do 5 of them. So, there were a lot of friends early on that were confident that, I'll let you try it because I know you want to do it.
Yeah.
Which is really cool to have at the beginning of it. It was friends, even some of my family members as well and stuff.
Yeah. So walking in here, I love the atmosphere. You have Christian music playing. It's clear that you're a believer.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to know you a little bit at church. You're a youth advisor now. How does your faith play into what you do here? How does it show itself?
There's a handful out there now, but there's not a lot of Christian-owned tattoo parlors. You're going to find that kind of across the state, that it's a rare thing to have. Not so much nowadays, but the tattoo industry was kind of associated with an alternative underworld culture.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
From back when it started military-wise in bars and basements and homes and things like that, it didn't have a good stigma to it. For good reasons.
Yeah.
Right? Those were the bikers, things like that. There was a crowd of people that got tattoos originally that were more on the outcast side of it.
Yeah.
So to transfer that into today, being that we're Christian based, that has a set of standards that I hold. There's things about our shop in particular that I'll do or not do that other places will or won't.
Okay.
Certain areas on women, things like that, I'm respectful towards that. I'm not going to tattoo those.
Yeah.
Certain images that if I feel it goes against my beliefs or what I believe that I'm not comfortable putting on somebody else permanently, I'll say no to them.
That's good.
So
good for
the
you.
Christian aspect transfers into it in that sense as like logistically as a tattoo artist, but then I get to have so many great conversations with people that normally wouldn't sit down and have a conversation with a Christian. If they're like, hey, let me tell you about Jesus. A lot of people are just, this is okay.
Thank you.
But I have somebody here for 4 hours.
They're not going anywhere.
So they're not going anywhere. But then there's also that like, they're stuck. But there's almost like a level of, I'm going to hear this person out because I respect them and I'm here. Why not? Let's hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a lot of the conversations you get into. And some tend to get a little not heated, but a little agitated, and I could tell that. But then there's ways to navigate through and to have those open, vulnerable conversations with people that maybe they wouldn't have had. And I think that slowly they start to realize that it's not being pushy about it, but just trying to ask people and to talk to people and ask them, well, what do you believe? And why do you believe that? Yeah. And then when people start getting questioned things, they push back a little bit. Yep. But to be able to do it in a respectful manner is cool, because if you're walking in here to get a tattoo, I mean, the name in itself, Acacia, is biblical. It's in the Old Testament and things. So when you walk in, you see Jeremiah verse on the wall, you see portraits of Jesus, you see crosses. You're coming in with the presupposition that I'm a Christian. Yeah. So why would I not talk about my faith? Right. So if you're coming in that, and you don't want to hear that or talk about that, then maybe this isn't the place, to where I'm not ashamed to discuss my faith or ask people, have you ever even heard of the gospel? Do you know what that means? Yeah. What type of home were you brought up in? What ideas do you have that maybe are not truly Christian values or what we actually believe in the Bible and what the Bible says? Yeah. And I've gotten to have a lot of good conversations with people that were brought up in Christian homes that didn't have the right idea of what Christianity truly was. So important. It's so important. And they weren't explained it from the people in their family that were Christians. They weren't truly explained what the gospel is, what the good news is, the message, and all that. So I get to have those conversations with people. I've got to pray with people in here that are just, friends or family or clients that never thought that I would say, well, can I pray with you now? So to be able to pray with people and to talk to people and, share the gospel. And because there's a percentage of people nowadays that I would say it's a higher percentage that are non-believers that get tattoos than there are believers, at least from coming in our doors. So it's a huge percent of people that, whether they're atheist or agnostic, it's one of those two typically that that's like our, I get to witness to outsiders, right? On that kind of that mentality. So it's like a good platform for people to come in that, that don't really have any faith but are open to it. Yeah. Especially if they're, agnostic. They believe in something, they don't know what. How can we wrestle through that? Let's figure it out together. So to be open with my faith is very important here. And it's cool because then that starts to go around, oh, well, he's a Christian-based tattoo artist, which then I can see the shift in clientele that start to become believers as well. It's people coming in that want religious sleeves or pieces or from church and things like that. The clientele starts to shift in that direction, and which is really cool to see. I like to, there'll be full days where it's all very strong, devout Christians that, I tattoo all day long, and we get to have cool conversations about that. Instead of questioning their beliefs, it's sharpening iron. We get to sharpen each other and we get to have conversations about, if other people aren't here, we can go deeper and get vulnerable and talk about, like man to man, what's going on? How is this going on, in your life? What are you going through? We get to have those conversations too, which is cool.
I'm just glad that Wanda had no control over this. Otherwise, I would have Dork on my arm. I would, when I would go draw blood on my patients when I was full-time nursing, I would, I had a couple different things I would say to them. Some of them, after I get the needle in, and they'd say, well, that didn't hurt. I'd say, well, I appreciate it because I've always wanted to try this. Remember, no regrets. You want to have no regrets when you do this. So it's not bad. It's just like a little, I don't know, a little scraping. Well, our time here at Acacia Tattoo Company, Market Street, Lewisburg, is coming to a close. Honor, courage, and commitment, Navy core values of which I serve. So glad to have these on here. Justin, thank you so much. You did a great job, and I appreciate you letting us in.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you again for allowing us to come. First time I've ever been here. Love the vibe in here, the atmosphere. Excited about what God's doing through you right here.
Well, the arm's feeling great, and looking forward to letting this one heal, and who knows, maybe come and get another one. If you'd like to stop in and see Justin or his crew, be sure to watch all the way through till the end. We'll have some contact information for you, and maybe you have an idea, a collection that you would like to show us, or a craft, hobby, or occupation, or there's a place of interest you would love for us to get a behind-the-scenes look at. Be sure to send us an email with your idea to morningshow@wgrc.com. That's morningshow@wgrc.com. And who knows, next time we may just see you around the valley. All right, held it up there long enough.